I got into ceramics because my sister is an art student, and she ended up working at a ceramic studio. And I also started watching the Great Pottery Throwdown, which is a really great show. And then I applied to a job at the Berkeley Art Studio, which is a really great place. And so I picked up work there. And then when you work there, they give you free classes. So then I just started taking them, and I just kind of have like kept it up over the past 4 years or so. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I'm definitely someone who really enjoys like working with clay. I wouldn't use the word therapy. I would say that I definitely do feel like it is really beneficial to kind of intentionally take time to do it because it is such a slow practice. It is like very methodical, and you are very individual when you do it. I mean, there are like collaborative ways to do ceramics, but it is really nice to be able to do it just sort of alone with music, like by myself. And because of the setup and the takedown time, I do have to set time to do it. So I think like that practice is really important. Yeah, so clay is really incredible in the sense that it is a form where once you fire the clay, it will essentially outlive you. So it is a little bit silly, especially when you're at your beginning stages and just kind of doing it to learn, when you'll fire something and then it'll be atrocious, but then you're like, oh, okay, functionally and on a chemical level, this awful bowl I've just made will outlive me. And I think that's really magical, actually, because when you give something to someone, there is a sense of permanence in that is, I think, really powerful and very much like an undercurrent of the art practice as a whole. I think that it's definitely a lot different from the other things I do because I'm when you're working in film, yes, it is permanent, but it's not as material as necessarily I would like it to be. And what's really great about clay is that it's so functional and is way more natural. And I mean, if you think about it, like people have been working with clay for years, not years, centuries. So it's really nice to kind of like be able to work with that form as opposed to something like more of an electronic thing. The process of it does really play into the overall sort of piece you get at the end. I would definitely say that like there are connections in terms of like the hypnotic experience of sort of like making a piece and then kind of the end result. I think a really common misconception about clay is that it's relaxing. Like I think a lot of people are like, oh, it looks so like relaxing, but it's really stressful. And like I think that like it's a really because it's so malleable and anything you do really changes it. Like you have to really be focused on your physical movements in a way that you wouldn't usually be. And like I have to think about like, okay, I'm putting pressure in this way, I'm putting pressure in this way, and like the clay is responding like this. It's very much like a conversation, and I think that it's an interesting thing to engage with that, but it's definitely like not as relaxing as people would think. It's really nice to be able to kind of work in a space and with an art form that is so physical and also so not tied to my career, not tied to sort of an aspiration of some kind. And I think that is ultimately really relaxing, even though again it's not a very relaxing medium, I would say. I think it's important, and there's a lot of freedom and joy that I get out of doing something that is creating a piece that has a function. I mean, I can make a bowl, I can make these pendants that I give to my friends. Yet at the same time, there is a lot of joy in the fact that it's not something I would typically do, and it's not a typical form of sort of, it's not a medium that I'm using a lot of the times professionally, so it's nice to be able to kind of express myself in that way without those constraints. I love making pendants because one, they're super easy to make, and it's also something that is you can make really unique and is a really great gift to give to people, and I love giving those to my friends. It's kind of my go-to like birthday gift, not just because it's easy to make, but just because it's something that someone can really wear with them, and it is such a great feeling when you see someone wearing a piece or using a piece that you've made, and you know how many hours you've spent sort of making that and building that out. Yeah, I can cook something up. Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to clay is that my sister, who I really picked it up from, works at the ceramic studio, and that's something that she does in her practice. And Megan is 6 years older than me, and we are very close, but Megan has lived in New York for the past, like, 6, 7 years or so. So I do see her, and we see each other often and call often. But there is something I think really magical about being able to kind of work in this practice that I know she's also doing, and doing it kind of far away. And I think that what's also so great about it is, like, if you work in any other medium, like, yes, you're connected, but clay is so physical and so sort of like of this earth. It's, I think, really great to kind of special to be able to kind of tap into that in a similar way that she is from around the country.